Hi everyone. Today I want to make some tags. I'm going to make tags in a tag. So I've printed out some of the papers from the Vintage Ephemera paper kit. I'll show you the before image. And then this is the after image. So this is the same page where I've added some glossy accents to some of the features. So some of the butterflies you can see there. I've added some glossy accents and it really makes a difference to the tag. So that's one page. This is the second page. So here's the before. And then here's the after. You can see again, I've just gone through, these are the smaller tags. And I've just added glossy accents to some of the bugs and plants and butterflies on them. So those are those two pages. I've also printed this page off and I'm going to use this half of the page here. So that's the tag in a tag. I'm wanting to make vellum pockets, so I just printed I stamped a few samples of vellum out just to see what would go with the tags. And if you see, my favourite colours were this gold colour, just looked beautiful on the tags, and also this one here. This is the platinum, that looked really nice. And there was this one, the off-white one, which I also liked as well. So I'll put up a screenshot of the embossing powders I used if you're interested. So what I did, because the two favourite ones were the gold and the platinum, I've just gone through and stamped on a piece of tracing paper, stamped and embossed. So the top half of the page is in gold and the bottom half is in the platinum. So I've got those ready to tear up to make pockets on the front. I grabbed this is a sheet of tags. I grabbed that because that might be useful. And some coffee dyed paper that I'll use, and also just some coffee dyed graph paper. So that's what I'm starting with. This is the glossy accents product that I've used on the top of the tags. I've also grabbed out my Inca Gold, which I might add some gold, some eyelets and my Crocodile, and a couple of different inks that I might try on them. So that's the starting point. So I'll cut out some of the tags and show you what I'm going to do with them. Okay, so here are the larger tags, and I've put an eyelet in each of them. I've gone around and distressed the edges on the front and the back, and added a little bit of ink and some Inca Gold. So I'll show you the process with that. So I've just taken a tag, I've popped an eyelet in it, and I've just got a pair of scissors, and I'm just going to go around and distress that edge. You can see if I distress part of it and the top part not. It's just a really great way to make it look a bit more vintage, but it will accept the ink a lot better by doing this. So I've just gone all the way around, and then with the ink, I'm just using Vintage Photo. You can just see how well it just takes the ink really well. So I've gone around the tag and put the ink on it. And the same on the back. And then I haven't distressed these little ones. You could, but I've just inked them again front and back. And then with the larger tags, I just went around with the Inca Gold and just got a little bit of the paste on my finger, and I just went round in just a few spots and just added a little bit of gold to the large tag. So they're the small tags with the ink on them. And I should have mentioned I printed these tags on a 250-gram GSM cardstock, and they're the big ones. And then on the back of them I've printed the tea-dyed papers so that they're completely ready to use. So the next step now is I want to also cut out these, because they're going to be pockets on the back of the tags. So for the front of the tag now, I want to use this vellum to make a pocket, and to do that I want to make a pocket that's going to sit on the front of these, that these little tags can tuck into. So to get my height, I just take one of the tags. I want the pocket to be probably 1 1/4 would be enough. And what I'm going to do, so that I can have the full width of the tag as a pocket, I'm going to wrap the vellum around the sides and the bottom. So if I want that 1 1/4 inches, I probably want to add a little bit. So my tape width is 1/8 of an inch. So if I cut them, tear them at 1 1/2, that should be fine. So what I'll do is I'm just going to use my board, and I want a torn edge on the top, which I already have on this piece. So I want to tear it at about 1 1/2 here. I'm just looking, at slightly, doesn't matter, it's not exactly straight to printing, but that won't matter. So I'm just going to tear that at 1 1/2, and then on the tag I'm going to have this wrap around. So what I'm going to do is put a little bit of the tape onto this edge here, and that's going to sit around like that. And then I'm just going to crease where it sits there, and just, vellum will crease really beautifully, and just trim that down a little bit and add the tape on the other side as well. Excuse the dogs barking. I have got 3 Orly Muppets to look after this weekend. Okay, so that's the going to glue around the back, and I might do the same on the bottom. Just put tape along that bottom edge as well, and that can tuck up under the bottom. That way the pocket is fully usable on the front of the tag. Okay, so I'm just placing things into position and creasing them. Peel that layer off. I'll just get my So I'm going to peel the bottom off first and have that sitting neatly there, and then just trim a little angle off on the sides. I'm just using my finger at the back to add a little bit of tension to make that pocket nice and tight. So that is a nice pocket now to sit a little tag in. So I'm going to go and do that. For some of them I'll use the platinum and others I'll use the gold. So I'll go through and add those in, and then once I've done that, I'm going to add, to cover that up on the back, I'm going to add one of these pieces on the back of them as a pocket on the back. And then I was thinking that I'll use the tea-dyed papers and fold a piece of tea-dyed paper to tuck into the pocket at the back, and then perhaps one of these little tags, and I'll pop them out. They can either fit, and I can distress these, they can either fit into that back pocket, which will just fit, or they can sit in the front pocket as an extra tag. I could even hang this tag, tie it with string and hang it onto that and distress that. So I'll come back in a moment and I'll show you them all with the pockets added onto them, and then think about what I'm going to do with this tag. Okay, so I've added the vellum pocket. Some of them I've torn and some of them are just square on, and I've tucked the little tags in, and they just need a little bit more. They need a bit of contrast between the two. So what I've done is I cut just a little bit off those tags and rounded the corners, and so for some of them they're going to have this natural coloured card. So I'm just inking it up. I'll do that on both sides. And then for both, so they look really nice now just with that little bit of ink, but I just want to add, because there's so much highlighting, I'm just going to add a little bit of gold. I'm just getting a little bit of gold on my finger, and I'm just going over that inked area to just get a little bit of gold on top of that ink, and do that on the back as well. And then the same on the black card, just wanting to go around and add that little bit of gold on it. And it just takes the starkness out of that. Okay. Now for this string, I've got some of this, I guess it's a creamy colour, a light colour string. Just going to cut a little bit off. And if I have that string on it, it's just a bit too white. So I'm just going to grab my ink pad and just sit it on top of the ink pad and just pull it through under the dauber a couple of times, and that'll just add that little bit of aged look to it. So that, in comparison to that, it's just given it a bit of colour. And then I can take a length of this and just feed it through, line both of these holes up on the black tag and the other tag, just pinch a little bit together and poke that through. And then I'll just cut that excess off, poke those through. and tighten them off, and just because that will come undone really easily, just grabbing a little bit of art glitter glue and just from behind I'm just going to put a little dab of glue on the back there, so where that crosses over, and then if I just tighten that, that will just push the glue under that back string, so that's my tag there, and that will slide into that pocket. And then the same with this one. Just push the loop through both holes. Snip off the excess and feed it through. And just a little dab of glue just to hold those strings in place. So that's with the lighter colour card and with the darker colour card, so they both look really nice. Now for the backs of these, I'm just going to add these cards that I cut up to the back and make a little pocket. And so to do that, I'm just going to place the card on the back and line up the bottom edge and that side edge and just paper clip it, and then trim off my excess I'm going to go through the same process that I did last time and just rough up these edges. And ink them. And that's going to glue nicely on the back. I'm just going to use art glitter glue and just do a really thin line around the outside on the three edges. And sit that on. I don't want to see this card from the front, which I can't, which is perfect. So I'm just going to give that a chance to dry for a second. I'll do another one. So again, just sitting the card on and squaring it up along the bottom and that edge. Trimming that little bit of excess off. Distress those edges. And ink it up. Just double check that's going to fit. Add my glue. Okay, so that's the backs done, and then I'll do that with the rest of them and show you. And then just for the back pocket, I just want to leave a little bit of space for the glue line. I'd say 1.5 would be the maximum. I'll make it maybe 1 3/8. So I'm just going to, I've just got some tea-dyed paper, and what I want to do is make the height of it so that it doesn't go above this ridge point. So on this one, if I make that 2 3/4, that will be enough. And then when I fold it, I want to make sure that it's going to fit inside that pocket with a little bit either side. So I'm just going to do that back upon itself a couple of times. So a concertina fold. I was going to cut a bit off, but I might just do the whole width of the paper. And then it's just a little bit too wide. So just experiment with yours to just get the width, the right width. And that's just going to slot into that pocket and sit down. So that's the front, and the tag pulls out, and that's the back, and your piece of paper will pull out and fold out. Obviously it won't have all the creases in it. So I'm going to finish them all off, and I'll show you them all finished in just a moment. So there's the tags finished from the front. I'll just bring them up a little bit closer. So you can see they've all got a little bit of sparkle. The gold looks really nice on them. And the backs are all done, but I'm not putting the paper in just yet. Just going to let the glue dry. So from the back they've all just got a pocket, and it might be nice to stamp something or stencil something on the back, perhaps something to go with the theme, an insect or a butterfly. So they're the backs of them done as well. So thanks for watching. I hope you have a go at making something similar.